And good afternoon. I'm your girl, Jeanette Smith, certified life strategist and mindset coach. It is another great Thursday, and it's time for Life Unscripted. This is where we talk about anything and everything, all to get you to be able to make better decisions for better living. We are excited today to welcome back into position of guest one of our own Empowerment Tribe members. And so Monique Pagan is going to be here talking about emotional eating. She's brought along some of her friends that will share some of their testimonies and things that they've experienced in this arena of emotional eating. And so I'm so grateful for them for showing up. I see you already. Good morning, Miss Leola. Good to see you. Yes. Me and the Empowerment Tribe, we are all here. Hello, brother, traveling, but good afternoon. Thanks for popping in, even though you're traveling. It's great to see you. And Candace said she was going to be the first one on. So, yeah, I think this is a topic that resonates with many people across genders and everything, age groups as well. Good afternoon, Pamela. Great to see you. Hi, Helen. Glad you're here. I see your Rise photo frame. You better do it, lady. Jen, this is great. She's a PhD in foodie, so I know this is of interest to you too. It's an awesome topic. I'm going to go ahead and ask you now to do that thing that we do. Michael, great to see you. I'm doing awesome. I hope that you're doing well too. I want to do that thing that we always talk about doing, and that is making sure that you share the content, share the wealth. Go ahead on Facebook, share it out on your platforms, share the link. YouTube, do the same thing. Click the link, share it. You can even text it to people. Periscope, I love you. I see you on Periscope. Make sure you tap me out those hearts because we want all the hearts and minds we can in the community that need this information to come in and be a part of the discussion. A lot of times, I don't know if you've noticed that a lot of the information that goes out is one level of understanding and one level of inspiration. And then what happens is you all share and you all pull, and people get blessed from the things that you end up sharing and exposing and being so transparent about. So I want to make sure that you do that now. When we talk about healing, I want you to understand that this is just another part of healing. We've talked about what people think it looks like, that little bitty round circle at the top where you just meditate peacefully for 15 minutes a day, and then healing takes place and butterflies are released and doves float out of, every area of your life. No, that's not how it happens, right? So what healing really looks like is that bigger pie at the bottom with many parts, where we start with unpacking the trauma or unpacking the circumstance or situation that's at the root of it, having the difficult conversations, even if those conversations are with yourself, taking radical responsibility for your actions, implementing the healthy routines, and then setting and enforcing some boundaries. And I can't tell you how important that is, especially when we're talking about emotional eating. So let's pull in our resident expert for today. Empowerment Tribe, you already know what to do. Get your emojis out, get your radical hospitality together, and welcome our very own Monique Pagan to the broadcast. Hello, my love.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This area of emotional eating, I mean, this is something that we have kind of played around with. And I don't mean that like in a disrespectful way. We've talked around it as we've been in this area of pandemic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to start first by what are we talking about? Emotional eating, the practice of consuming large quantities or large amounts of different types of food, usually to comfort ourselves. They say junk food, but hey, sometimes it's not even junk food. Sometimes it is real food that is good in portions, but when you unleash the Kraken, it's just gone into overload. So, and that's all in response to feelings instead of our actual hunger. I wanted you to start kind of connecting the dots because I remember back when you were starting to do your dream building work,
Oh,
right?
you paused for me.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. You're back. You remember when I was?
You were doing your dream building work, and nutrition and health and wellness was a huge part of that. And so just walk us through your training, walk us through the things that you did to get to this place where now you want to help people through emotional eating coaching?
Yes. So I started off my training through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. And basically, that is coming from the philosophy that your primary foods affect how you eat. Your primary foods are your relationships, your spirituality, your movement and physical vitality, and your career. And so as soon as I got my certification there, I was like, okay, I have to pick a niche. What niche do I want to pick? Okay, I struggle with sugar addiction, so let's go along with that. But then, like as I was helping others with sugar addiction, I was still going through the struggle myself. And I got to a point to where I was like, why do I keep doing the same things over and over and over and over again? Why do I start a diet and then I binge out on Oreos the next 2 weeks, and then I feel guilty and then I feel shame, and then it's like this cycle that continues. Like it's never ending. It felt like there is end, I promise. And so then I got into like mindset stuff, NLP. So I got my certification in neurolinguistics programming. I got my certification in emotional freedom techniques and hypnotherapy. And I learned a lot about how our behaviors are not driven by our willpower.
Right.
We rely so much on willpower, where it's really what's underneath the surface and how our minds pull up the filters to filter out information that's coming in. So when we are trying to just change a behavior, we struggle in that area because we're not changing our mindset. We're not changing how we see ourselves. We're not changing our limiting beliefs into limitless beliefs. We're not changing the emotions that we have around our memories and past traumas. And even just like our mood and the time and location can affect how we process information at that time. And so that's how I got, let me make sure I'm answering the question. So that's how I got deeper into what was driving me. And as I started to learn this information, I could see that, oh, I need to work on my self-worth. Like self-worth was a really big thing for me, because there was one thing, I'm about to go into a story. I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself, but there was one time I was eating food and I was like, my body just had like this bzzz, this buzz, and I had to check in, like, what is going on? Why is my body feeling this way? And I was like, oh, I feel like there's not enough food. And then intuitively, I connected that to like, there's not enough food. I am not enough. So therefore, I'm eating this food out of lack, limit, and scarcity.
Wow.
And so as I began to up my self-worth, that's when my approach and my relationship to food changed.
That's interesting. I there's so much in there to unpack. I think what the last thing, and we'll get to it at all the other parts as we bring in some of your guests, but you said something that might strike a nerve with people. And I want you to kind of go back and just touch on it a little bit. You said you had to look at and evaluate your self-worth, and how you made this connection between I'm not enough, I don't have enough. Kind of dig into that just a little bit right there, because I want to remind us the reason that I said, okay, we're going to stay in this theme. We started yesterday in the devotional talking about self-worth, self-love, acceptance, and self-advocacy. And we moved into emotional eating, which is also tied to many of those things, because we hit that roadblock trying to get people to follow their purpose, and people feeling like I'm not enough. And so then these kind of actions, overeating or this or that, or emotional eating and this and that, become the sidebar things that happen instead of your focus going toward what you're really trying to make happen, right? Go back to that nugget about not being enough, because that is the demon that we keep, it keeps popping up that we have to deal with.
Right. So for me, and then I'll share a few things about some clients that I've had who are not here. So for me, it was like I would be eating Maybe I wanted to finish all of the food on my plate because I
Yeah.
didn't want to waste the plate.
Right.
When we waste food, or when we're done with food, or when we're done with something, we put it in the trash. I became the trash can because I didn't want to waste the food, right?
Yep.
And so another thing is, when I would eat, I would feel guilty, I would feel shame, and then I would go into this spiral of negative emotions, which would spiral me back into eating, because now I'm punishing myself for eating. Or I would take away food and deprive myself of food, and that's another way of punishing myself. However, I'm saying a lot of things. However, it made me feel like I was in control, when in actuality, as I began to unpack, I was never in control. The food was always in control. We think that emotional eating is about the food. And I also want to say that emotional eating doesn't just look like a whole binge.
Right.
It can be snacking throughout the day.
Right.
It can be not eating at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a broad spectrum. That's why it took me a long time to actually realize that I am emotionally eating. And those of you who are here, I don't want you to leave this broadcast saying, I am an emotional eater. Do not leave here saying, I am an emotional eater. Do not pick up the victim card, because I want you to leave here empowered. You experience emotional eating.
Yes.
You are not an emotional eater.
I love it. I love that. So let's bring in the rest of our dream team for today. That's what I'm going to call them. Some clients of Monique's who have been on this journey to help us with, Leola says, wow, to help us with, varying perspectives. So you all, please welcome Miss Dominique Carter, Miss Janelle G. She's like doing her, that's kind of like a Beyonce thing. I like it. What's the G for? What's the G for? Oh, I should do that. Say it again.
It's for Galvez.
Okay, Galvez. All right. Thank you, Janelle. And Miss Kristen Johnson. Good to see you all and good to have you all on. Thanks so much for being with us this morning. When you heard Monique's story, and I know you all have worked with her in different capacities, when you heard her story, though, was that part of what resonated for you about why you may have wanted to connect to her? You kind of saw yourself or pieces of behaviors in your own actions? Yeah. And y'all just jump in. It's just like it's girls talking, so y'all don't have to raise your hand.
So for me, I didn't think that I was an emotional eater because I tend to deprive myself of food. So I always thought of emotional eating as eating tons of food, or like if I'm feeling sad, I'm going to eat. If I'm feeling angry, I'm going to eat. I'm not that type of person. I'm actually the other way. If I'm feeling all these emotions, eating is like the last thing on my list of priorities, which Monique then helped me tap into the fact that is emotional eating. It might not be the conventional way that everybody thinks it is, but the food is still in control. And even still now, and I always used to say, I don't need to eat my food. My body will feed off the fat it already has, which is also the food taking control of me, which that doesn't work, right? Like you need food, to fuel your body and to actually be healthy. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of what she was saying and the self-worth thing, it all resonated with how I felt. And until I worked with her, I didn't realize that the food was that much in control. Like I just was like, I don't eat. I'm not an emotional eater, but that's definitely not the case.
It's funny that you even said, I know I have said before, I mean, in the last 60 days, I'm not going to starve. I got plenty for me to run off of. The tank will always, like that can be part of a mindset. Thank you for sharing that. Nobody dare say welcome, ladies in the chat room. Who wants to share next?
I'll go next because I want to piggyback off of Dominique.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I fell in love, absolute love, with Monique as I heard her speak. And also the self-worth thing stuck out to me.
Yeah.
But what Dominique was saying, for me, it is under eating. When I'm under stress and anxiety, it's really hard for me to take care of myself. So I don't nourish myself. I'm nourishing everyone else. my business, my family, my husband, everybody else around me is getting fed. I am literally, 'cause I have a background in culinary, literally making food and giving everyone and providing for everyone and not providing for myself. So by the end of the day, and I'm talking like 10, 11, midnight, I will go and pick the worst thing possible to eat.
Right.
And I will overeat on that and crash. And I didn't realize until talking to Monique that that's what I was doing. I just was just doing and just not paying attention to my own pain, my own hurt, my own suffering. I was just taking care of everyone else. So
how many of us can relate to that though? Throw your hands up and your emojis up in the comment section. Yeah, because everybody, absolutely, we all have been there. Thank you so much for sharing, Janelle. Kristen?
Hey, I actually want to piggyback off what Janelle is saying. I'm in the culinary field as well as we speak, and every day I literally cook for hundreds of people, and I'm still having an issue with providing for my own self. So I'm still going through the emotional eating thing, which I don't know. I think I'm just labeling it emotional eating as I looked at Monique's Instagram throughout the week this week, and I'm like, wow, I think I am, doing it to myself, but I didn't realize it because I'm not eating a lot. I'm working with everybody else, providing meal prep for everyone, and I'm still not feeding my body what it needs to be fed. And I guess that is a sign of emotional eating. I didn't even realize that even throughout our whole journey, I was more focused on getting movement and the working out and not the nutrition.
Right.
But I plan meals for people and count calories for people.
But not right. But that's just like the woman mantra, in reverse of being self-aware and self-care, and taking care of ourselves, is that we're going to make sure you have everything you need. Right. And then I'll be the one. I mean, think about this, even in terms of like caregivers. We were talking about this the other day. People who physically are taking care of other people who have limited physical ability because of age or whatever, many times become more broken down than the person that they are taking care of. And I've known of instances where those people have actually died before the person that they were taking care of. And that just really should be a wake-up call to us all, that there's only so much that you can give out of an empty pitcher. Like at some point, we have to take the time for the planning, which, we're going to give you all tools today for how do you identify that this might be the category you're in? And then what do you do as a result of all of that? I want to look at something and tell me if this cycle resonates with you all. I mean, it's not the only cycle, but I think that it can help our audience kind of track along. Something happens that upsets or impacts you, right? Then you get this overwhelming urge to eat or not eat. Let me take the banner off so we can see Miss Kirsten down there. So you feel this overwhelming urge to eat or not eat, as we've been talking about now, right? You eat more than you should, or you eat less than you should. Mm-hmm. And then you feel guilty, powerless over food. And then you go back and you eat again. Like that whole cycle of, I wonder, we talk about all the, within the empowerment tribe, the importance of the 7 steps, which can lead you to a positive end game or a negative end game, of your experience leading you to think and feel certain things that then those thoughts lead to feelings that then lead to decisions. And those decisions then lead you to take a certain action. Do you all remember, can you think of a time when hello, disciple or discipline trader, I see you on Periscope. Great to have you. Can you all remember a time when you can track back, like this was happening, that was happening, and then I made this decision? And sometimes it's a subconscious decision, right? It's an unconscious decision, right? Because that's the joke about the pandemic 15, the pandemic pounds right now, right? We're all at home and everybody's doing their thing. And then you look up and you're like, it's like you were in a trance and you sleepwalk and you're in front of the fridge going, how did I get here? What? How did I eat that whole thing? You know, that kind of thing. But can you track like a moment when you caught yourself and said, this is that. This is it. What was the this is it moment for you all? I'll tell you what it was for me. Somebody on Periscope says this, I do it all the time. It's not good. Yeah. It's especially when we're not aware. I think that's the beauty of bringing the self-aware piece, right, Monique, to the discussion.
I was exactly, because it happens so quickly. It is like instantaneous. So your cravings, your emotional craving, it happens all up here in the mind, and it happens quick, and it feels insatiable. Like you just keep going back to the fridge, like, I'm not satisfied. Let me try this. I'm not satisfied. Let me try this. And let me just put in my moment. This is one moment, one of many moments, but I want to show how presence can save you. Presence. You have to bring yourself back to presence. So my son, one of my sons, Zion, he was sitting on the right of me and he was eating. And then he all of a sudden just started and immediately I turned away from him. He's over here. I turned away from him thinking I want some cashews, and I grabbed the cashews. And I was like, wait, why am I not consoling him? Why am I reaching for this? That's how you catch. That's how you heal. You have to begin to disassociate yourself from emotional eating, because you can feel like bad and shame and guilt. Disassociate yourself from it. Accept that it's happening and begin to get really, really curious. Get really curious without any judgment. Why am I reaching for this? And as I asked myself that question, I realized, I'm feeling anxious. And then I also realized, I'm feeling anxious because there's this loud noise. Disregard the fact that he's my son. There's this loud noise over here, and that's making me feel anxious. Why is this loud noise making me feel anxious? I grew up in a home where it was like a lot of arguing. Like you have to bring it, dig.
Yeah, there's the layers. I saw you all nodding like, yeah, I get it. Did that bring up an incident that you all can now point to for in your own life? I'll tell you, I was saying I would share. You all don't know, I shared with the tribe before, just since we've been in the pandemic, I braved the elements, so to speak, and got on my scale a couple months ago and saw that I was weighing the heaviest I've ever weighed in my life. And I'm 5'4", and a 5'4" person should never weigh that much. And it was my, oh my God, help me, I gotta get out. And so what I realized was several things were happening. I live alone. Well, with everybody's favorite four-legged niece, but I live alone. There's that interaction that you might get, with your kids, or you're this or you're that. I'm not doing that. I don't have that. This was back before I was working really hard, because I also work for a church, for nonprofit. And so, when COVID hit, everything went online. So there was a lot of work to do. So I was sitting in front of a computer easily up to 18 hours a day sitting, because, I wasn't even thinking, hey, you should stand up for a while and do some stuff and then maybe break it, because we were in, triage mode. So just sitting for 18 hours a day, and then the stress, because hadn't been in a worldwide pandemic before, right? And then all of these things going on. Right. And I just found, and I don't know if you all saw the meme where somebody hung their bikini on the refrigerator, and it had a sign, and it said, "Girl, you were just here. You're not hungry. Goodbye. Girl, bye." And I was like, that's me. I could hear my fridge going, "Girl, bye. You were just here. Like, why are you back?" Right. Mm-hmm. And it's that moment of clarity where Monique said, you're reaching for this, but really you're trying to address that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or you're not eating and you're still trying to address something.
You know, eating. Do you ladies want to talk before I?
That
I kind of had a being just a minute ago when you were speaking about something. I didn't even realize that I work so many hours a day, and sometimes I just fall asleep on the couch. But I notice every time I doze off and wake up, I go to the kitchen and I get something to snack on, popcorn, fruit, anything. And then if I go and doze off again, I pop up and I go back to the kitchen. Instead, I think I should probably just rest and really go to bed. But I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna miss something for the night. I don't know why, but I think that's what I'm going to, instead of just saying, okay, girl, just relax and just go get to bed. And because you're tired, I just doze off, pop up, get a snack, doze off, pop up, get a snack. And I might do that 3 times.
And you're on the couch?
Yeah, I might be watching TV, for a minute, just, because I don't come home and just like, go to sleep and just, I hadn't even did anything, so I'm like, okay.
But let me ask this question, Kristen, because you bring up a good point. And ladies, you on screen, and those of you in the chat room, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you have ever been going to bed or in bed, and then all of a sudden you're like, I need a little something to snack on. And you get up to go get something. Anybody? Y'all smiling, but y'all ain't waving putting your hands up. I need to see your hands up. Yeah, Monique, speak to that thing, because I've always found that interesting too. Leola said, me. Yeah. Because that's one of the times, I'll tell you, where I've felt like I'm not controlling me right now.
Yeah.
Pam says all the time.
All the time. Wow.
Can I just hop in for a second?
Okay.
Yeah.
Usually, and this is where my lack of eating comes in. If I'm tired and I'm hungry, I'll just go to bed. Like, forget the fact that I didn't eat dinner, or forget the fact that I haven't eaten since breakfast. I'm tired. I want to lay down. I'm going to go to bed, and I'm going to go to bed hungry. And then I'm going to wake up even more hungry. And then during this pandemic, honestly, I don't know why, but I'm like tired of food. Like I'm tired of cooking. I'm tired of eating the same things. I mean, I'm a pescatarian, so I don't eat that much food anyway. And then I have a lot of food allergies. So my food selection is limited. And I feel like I eat the same thing over and over and over again. And since I was home doing nothing, I was furloughed for 2 months. So since I was home doing nothing, I was like, I don't feel like eating. I don't feel like cooking. I don't feel like eating. I don't feel like, I'm just over it. Like, if I'm laying down and I feel like I want a snack, most of the time I won't even get up, because I'm just like, I'm lazy. Like, I'm just like, forget it. I'm in the bed already. I'm not going to get up to get a snack.
That's why you're depriving yourself, though, because you have this mind like, oh, I'm lazy, so I'm just going to let my body eat up all the fat that's on my body, because I'm just going to torture you're like, every time you're talking, I feel like you're torturing yourself. I feel like and that's where the self-worth has to raise up, because I know a little bit of the backstory, and I don't know if you want me to share it here, but it's more of like, how can you nurture your body? Because your body will work for you. How can you love your body? Your body is amazing. This technology is amazing. But the way that you're treating it, it hears everything that you're saying. It hears everything that you're thinking. It feels what you're feeling, and it's crying out to you for you to listen.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working through now. Like, being better at eating, getting back on a schedule. Because being home, like when I was at work, I would eat on a schedule. Now I'm home all day. It just, happens or doesn't happen.
I mean, the COVID thing is like a very interesting situation because so sleep affects emotional eating. And if you're not getting good sleep because you're not getting sunlight, you're not getting bright sunlight because you're not going outside, if you're not moving your body, you're not even going to kind of sleep well. Like we need sunlight, we need movement. We need water, we need food. Like there's so many things that we need in order to set ourselves up for a good sleep cycle. And maybe you need fulfillment, Krista. I don't know, like something's telling me, not something, spirit is telling me that you need to inject some joy into your life.
Yeah. I want you to bring the balance on that too, Monique, because I realize now that Dominique was nodding, but she was saying, I'm 180 degrees the other direction of what you're saying. Like you all say, I'll go to bed. And somebody down here said, I just grab a snack and take it to bed with me for the just in case. They don't even wait. They don't even worry about trying to get up and go get it. It's like, I'm just going to take it to bed. Wendy, you better come on and tell the truth. But I also wonder too, with Dominique, because I've been in that position too, where sometimes when you can't control all the chaos around you, this is the one thing I can control, right? And it's not necessarily the way you should be trying to control anything because you need to eat, but it's like, God doggone it, I can't control any of this, but I'm a control this. I got this, right? And but to the other part, what's happening with us in our bodies? I know it can range anything from food addictions to, physiological stuff but what's happening when we're going to bed? You've eaten. This is for those of us, we ate dinner. We ate dinner and we did whatever we were going to do. And now we're going to bed and we're just got to go get that piece of cheese or just got to go get that little bit of this or a little bit of that. What's happening with us there? Can you kind of give some understanding in those?
I'm wondering if this is a habitual cue for some of you, because we have habitual hunger cues as well, something that you do out of habit. And it doesn't really have necessarily a meaning. For example,
we've trained ourselves is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yep. For example, I used to walk past a McDonald's every day from work. And I was like, I have to go in there and get these 3 chocolate chip cookies. And then one day I was like, I'm just going to go a different way. And so I did. And so over time, I just stopped forgetting about it. I mean, I just started to forget about it. So I'm wondering if this is like a habitual thing that's happening. And I would have to ask questions and things of that nature. Also, did you get the right amount of nutrition throughout the day? Like, what are you craving? Are you craving fat? Are you craving carbs? Are you craving protein? In the form of snacky foods, which is usually high in fat and high in carbs. Yeah. But did you get enough of that throughout the day? And are you making up for that?
That's
yeah, because your body, like your cravings aren't bad or good. It's information. It's information that your body is saying, oh, I need this type of nutrition.
Yeah.
Maybe you're lacking on your macros.
Jeanette, what were you saying when you said, yeah, that's me?
Yeah. So for me, like I said, stress and anxiety is the trigger for me. So that means I'm not eating and I'm not taking care of myself. So by the time the end of the day comes and I'm in bed and I realize I didn't eat well, I will get up and go in the kitchen and eat a whole pint of ice cream and pop a whole pot of popcorn together and just start eating that and then go to sleep.
Yeah.
Because popcorn's healthy. That's what they say.
I mean, it is, but when you put in a whole bunch of salt and
the salt and the butter. You got the movie butter brand. Yeah, absolutely. Let me take some. Thanks for your share. Let me take some folks' comments from the chat room. Pamela says my clothes didn't look good anymore. I caught a side eye of me in my favorite outfit while walking past the mirror. Oh my God, it stopped cold. I saw extra stomach, not pretty. You know, sometimes, Pam, it's like me getting on the scale. I knew I wasn't getting on the scale because I knew what the scale was going to say. I didn't know exactly what it was going to say. I had an idea. It far surpassed what I thought it was going to say. But sometimes it's those things that I hope that we'll use to motivate us, not in the direction of shame, but in a direction of just the aha, the enlightenment moment. You can't, it's the GPS, right? We can't start getting on track to where we want to go. You want to go to New York, but you keep heading toward Florida on the interstate. You're not going to get to New York. So we need to see some sign that says, hey, don't go this way anymore. You need to make a U and go north. And I think, Pam, that's what those moments can do. So I hope, and I thank you for sharing it. And I don't know how hard or easy it was for you to share that. I think any woman has been in that position before, where we've gotten a visual of ourselves and said, And so just use that as fuel for your mind to now decide, I'm going to make some different decisions about how to engage with food. Leola says, me too, ice cream. Yeah. Yep. Miss Helen says, I wake up and I want something instead of food. I drink water. I know a lot of people that do that. They'll drink lemon water or just water. Yeah. For better or for worse, I've integrated intermittent fasting into my practice. And because for me, this is not for everybody. I'm just telling y'all what I did for me. I realized that I had to break up with food hard. Like if I didn't break up with cheese with a cold, hard cut, cheese was going to be calling me. And then I'd be like, what you talking about today? Okay, well, maybe I'll just have a little piece. You know, nope. I had to break up with cheese hard. And I didn't even bring it in the house anymore, you know? And what I did to actually kick off my, I guess, journey of getting my eating under control was I went on a fast. And because I had to get control of food. I had to get control of food. And I had a spiritual component that was a part of that. Because I believe that anytime you do fasting, you should have this is my belief. You should have some sort of spiritual component because you need to keep your mind, your body, and your spirit aligned. So you're just not out there not eating. And that is wherever you find God in whatever form and wherever you meet God in your faith-based practice. But that's what held me. And so after I came out of that, I thought, look, I'm not even craving cheese anymore. Like cheese had me like, hey girl, like, you know. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that I don't even think about cheese anymore. Like I couldn't even make a salad without thinking, oh, gotta have some cheese. The fact that I can have salads with no cheese, you know, those are the things. And so I wonder, I saw somebody ask questions about things that help, and I want to move us in that direction. But let's look at these comments, Monique. Have you found any supplements that help with cravings?
Supplements.
Uh-oh, give it. 3, 2, 1, bam.
Okay.
Just educate and
your
love.
Cravings. Okay. This is not a quick fix. This journey is not a quick fix. Supplements. Maybe your normal vitamins. It's great. But how can you get that in the form of food? How can you get so many rich vitamins from food and minerals from food? I am not into that many supplements. So, yeah.
Okay. No, but I think that is a conversation worth spending this little amount of time on, because there's a whole society marketing supplements to fix what you need fixed. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the job of marketing and advertisers to say, this is your problem. Here's how you fix it. So when you look at the billion dollar industry of weight loss, the weight loss industry, which I put supplements and things up in under that, it is all geared toward making us think that if I have this thing, and here's what I will add, this is where it gets tricky. Sometimes things will work for a minute. Sometimes, and that's where, it gets fuzzy, because you do get a certain amount of result, maybe short term, but a long-term result is not sustainable, because our bodies are built to take in food. Like back in our day, like grandma, they didn't have no supplements. They weren't, they were living off the land. They didn't have supplements. And so, yeah, that is a great question. I'm so glad you asked it.
Yes.
But I hope that would kind of shift our thinking about, okay, how do I get what the supplement says that now, okay, so she's saying like natural supplements like chromium picolate and all the different things. Again, I think what Monique is saying, and I'm gonna let Monique say it, is pause before we make that the first go-to. Monique.
Right. What you want to ask yourself, is the craving I'm having a physical craving, or is it an emotional craving? Again, emotional hunger comes in the mind. It comes fast. A physical hunger comes slow. You feel it in your body. You feel it in your stomach. You might even get lightheaded. You might even, how you feel when your blood pressure, your blood sugar is low. You feel a little bit weak. It comes on gradually. And so, I just keep wanting to say the journey is long. It takes time. There are no quick fixes. And your cravings are not bad. And to listen to your cravings.
Yeah. Pamela was saying I had been avoiding looking. And I want to make sure that this is Pamela who had said that she caught a glimpse of herself. And I want to bring that in, because how many of us have done the avoidance thing too? Hands. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that keeps us stuck, right? Is the avoidance. And here's the thing. And even in that, there's no shame, because sometimes you just don't have the tool to deal with what you're going to see. That was me. I was avoiding the scale. It was right there every day. And every day I just brush my teeth and put on my makeup, and then I just bloop, bloop. So avoidance can come in many different forms, right?
Yeah.
Reverend Riri says, Pamela, I understand, one day at a time, one choice at a time. And that's how we have to approach it, right?
Yeah.
Lori says, decided this was a good time to get my mind right and make some serious changes. More time to plan and cook healthy meals. Jump started with the 5-day juice cleanse. Yeah, and I find that many people kind of do that. It's kind of like a reset. Some of us need a reset button. Like, wait a minute, because it's hard to go from kind of what I do every day into then just start doing this. Like, some of us need a hard reset. Some of us can do some things. And I know that there's some stuff that we're going to share. I know there's some mindset stuff that I shared that I know that's very similar to you too, Monique, because I've heard you talk about journaling and different things. And we'll go through that too. But here's some questions to ask. Monique raised a couple of them. Do you eat more when you're feeling stressed? Monique, take us through the questions, the rest of them.
Do you eat when you're not hungry or when you're full? Do you eat to feel better, to self-soothe, to calm yourself down when you're sad, mad, bored, anxious? Any of those emotions that we want to avoid? Do you reward yourself with food? Do you regularly eat until you've stuffed yourself? Does food make you feel safe? Do you feel like food is a friend? Do you feel powerless or out of control around food?
And let's add to that some of what Dominique was talking about. Or do you grab control and go, I'm just not going to eat. I'm just not going to eat. I don't care if I haven't eaten all day. I'm going to control in reverse. And I'm just not going to eat. Which I feel with you, because I've done seasons of being a pescatarian, and you can feel like, Okay. I feel you, girl. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. So, how many of you now, having seen those things or heard Dominique's testimony, can say, you know what? I probably have been in a season of emotional eating. In the meantime, Jennifer says, I agree with Monique about the supplements. Yeah. And food science is Dr. Jennifer's thing. So listen to the doctor. How many of you can say, let me see you in the chat, that, yeah, maybe I am identifying some of those behaviors in my own? Riri says, I try to watch for extremes, not going to eat and eating everything too often. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the journaling so much because it's like the example that Monique shared. Unless you're uber aware, and here's the thing: if you got a house full of people, or it's easier maybe for those of us who, like, it's just me. I can kind of pay attention. I catch those moments because my focus isn't pulled in so many different directions. But like, if you're like Kristen saying, like, I cook for everybody, I do. Janelle, you're also in food, and right, I'm doing all this for everybody. It can be easy not to pay attention to what you're doing or not doing, right, Dominique, for yourself, because all your focus is pulled by everybody around you, right? And so that's why the journaling piece becomes so important. Right? Because you would catch, right, Monique, like that moment where you were like, instead of calming him, I'm just trying to shut the noise down and self-soothe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to add, go ahead.
No, go ahead, add.
I was going to say that also other cues, other things that you can, or questions, do you eat differently depending on who you're around? Or do you hide when you eat? I was going to add those two things.
I saw your post on Instagram about hiding to go have a sweet treat.
Oh, yeah. We used to do that. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, for the mommies that are out there, yeah, just share that. That made me laugh.
No, just so with mommy, I have 2 little boys, and they are 2 and 4. And so it's a bit chaotic, not right now because they're napping, but with all of the energy and then the anxiety rises and the stress, as soon as you get or I'll just talk about me, as soon as I would get like a break, 10, 15 minutes, I'll go take something with me and gobble this up. Oh, that feels so good. And a few minutes later, man, I shouldn't have eaten that. A few minutes later, I feel sluggish. And now I'm feeling guilty again because now I don't have the energy to be the best mom that I know that I can be. And so, yeah, that's the story.
Yeah, but but you're going, yeah, but that's the story. So fine, I'll pull it up. That's, yeah, okay. So she basically shares remembering going in another room, and I wanted you to really walk us through it because there's this whole level of reward, guilt, shame, and that's the thing that we deal with, right? She says, I remember going in a room, stuff in my mouth. I got my instant gratification. I got the sense of calm. I got the sense of, doggone it, I'm gonna have a moment for myself-ness, right?
Yes.
And
I'm good.
You grab that for yourself, right? And then after all of that comes the floods of the other. I wonder, Kirsten, Dominique, Janelle, can you all relate to those moments? She's like, Janelle looked at me like, girl, what do you mean? Yeah.
all day long. I'm like, I'm hiding and I'm running away, and I feel bad because I do overindulge in certain things sometimes because I haven't fed myself. And so when I'm alone, I just, go crazy. And I feel bad about doing that to myself.
And then the other part, as a mom, we are also monitoring what our children are taking in. And then they're constantly asking for it. Oh, can I have this? And you're like, no. Can I have this? No. But then when I go, I'm going to have it.
I'm gonna eat this cookie, right? And I love that. I love that. Kirsten, what is one of your check yourself moves? Do you have a check yourself move?
Yeah, I guess. Let me see. Can you explain check yourself move? Like,
Yeah, how do you, now that you're kind of aware, because it sounds like all of you are at a different levels of, you got this awareness now, whether it is I go to eat or I don't go to eat, right? But you're aware now. So how do you check yourself now to not be in that cycle of, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna have this, I'm gonna overindulge, or I'm just gonna make myself feel better in this moment. How do you grab that moment? How do you check yourself?
I think I'm checking myself. I think about how I would feel after I eat the certain thing. Watching, what I notice very quickly, like what makes me feel bad. And so I think I just say, okay, you're not gonna feel good. You have a lot to do today, and it's gonna slow you down. So don't do it.
Yeah.
I've come a long way, and I don't really want to I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
Because I feel so good, and I just think about how my body feels and how it would thank me for not doing it to myself for the day. My body would appreciate it because I'm a lot quicker, a lot sharper. So I just think about how I would feel, because I don't want to feel down. So I say, okay, that's gonna make you feel bad. It's not worth it. It's just a cookie.
Yeah, it's just a cookie. I like that. Put it in perspective. It's just a cookie. That I love that. How many of you is small wins a motivator? Like whether it's for me too. Like especially when I started seeing the needle. Well, it's not a needle. It's not. I'm acting like I got one of them scales like you put cows on or something. But no, it's the digital. But just even seeing 0.4 of a pound or 0.2 of even that is a motivator, right? Because you need those affirmations that you're going in the right direction. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that Monique has shared, and I know that you've heard in different ways here about tools that help. You talked about the journaling, and it's not just that I'm going to journal, Monique, but talk about the importance of what you're actually journaling about.
Yeah, so journaling is a great way to disassociate yourself from the emotion that you might be experiencing. So let's say you're in the middle of a binge, and you come into presence, you become present, and you start to ask yourself those questions like, what emotion am I feeling? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? And as you begin to name the emotion and you're writing the emotion down on a piece of paper, it's like you are taking the emotion out of your body in a way. You're disassociating yourself from it so that you can see the patterns. And as you begin to continue to journal, you can see where, like, the patterns that show up and where you're slipping up and the emotions that your body tends to lean towards, because we can get addicted to negative emotions. So it's a very great tool to even work out things. I've worked out my control issues with food, and realizing the bit that I told you in the beginning, I did that through journaling. Like, oh, actually, I'm not in control of food. When I think I am in control, I'm never in control. And this is how I can be in control of my body.
You mentioned something I want you to kind of back up to. You said, because we can become addicted to our negative emotions. We only do what works for us. What is it about negative emotions that works for us, in your opinion?
Well, you can get, okay. So negative, at some point, that negative emotion probably served you. Maybe when you were younger and you got hurt, and now I'm going to play the victim so I can get attention. And now, because that worked for you before, you continue to do it unknowingly, It's underneath the surface, but it continues to happen because it's giving you a secondary gain. You're gaining something from that emotion. And so like with my clients, I do a lot of inner child work to heal the inner child, because that's where like all of those emotions that we can become addicted to that are no longer serving us as an adult come from.
And I want you to hear, like, I know I heard some of you going, God, that's just too much work. That's why you get help. Like, you know, you're not going to be in a mind fight with a cookie and go, oh my God, this is tied to my childhood it's not going to happen like that. So that's why you need help. Like, that's why you need a coach to help you kind of reverse engineer your understanding in that area about why it keeps coming back to a certain place. I mean, for some of us, you'll look at this list based on this acronym JUMP. You'll look at this list and this may be all you need. But for some of you, you might need a coach like Monique to help you walk through this step by step, get you on an eating plan, help you understand the why behind your eating, and help you unravel that part. She's even in the, if you all look in the header of the post for where you're viewing, except for Periscope. Periscope won't let you do those things, but there's a link to a document that she's created, a worksheet that she's created that I'll pull up there in a minute, that is geared to help you answer some questions, kind of take the questionnaire, kind of do a little self-searching and see if that's something that you need. So once we journal about not only what we're eating and when we're eating and the why behind we're eating, and I want to stick with your example you used of dealing with Zion and then grabbing for the nuts. Mm-hmm. It's the uncovering that source of the why, right? That's what we're talking about. And the other thing that I realized, and you made mention of this, for me, it was boredom. It was before I was streaming every day. I had taken my clients all the way down because of what was happening. And so I didn't really have purpose that I was engaged in much every day. Mm-hmm. And so there was just this empty thing. Well, I guess I'll eat while I work, and then I'll eat while I watch TV, and then I'll eat. It became an activity. Mm-hmm. You know, that filled up my time. So I'm not just sitting around looking at the walls, right?
Yeah.
So those things are easier to figure out when you journal. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Take us into M, because I think that's like a big part.
Yeah. Meet your needs in other healthy ways. Make a list of the healthier options to deal with your stress and boredom. So as far as like meeting, that's the whole game. That's the whole game. If you come to me, we're not talking about food right off the bat. How can we up your area in relationship? How can we up your area in career? How can we up your area in spirituality? How can we increase your sleep? Like, are you sleeping well? How can we increase the joy in your life? Like, what are the things that are causing the emotions in your life that we can begin to work on and begin to shift? Sorry.
It's okay. Before you finish, because one of our guests has to jump off. So Dominique, thank you so much for sharing your testimony. And I want you to keep your job, because we don't need nothing else that cause you to maybe stress eat, girl, or not eat. All right. Does anybody else have to jump off? I know we're right at the 2:00. Does anybody else have to jump off? Janelle, Chris?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing your testimony. Wish you continued best wishes in that area. All right.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Okay. I'm sorry, Monique.
Mm-hmm. And then in terms of food, what you can do is you can begin to crowd out. So a lot of the times it depends on the personality. And I know we've talked a lot about like cleanses and detoxes and fasting. Some, depending on who you are, that might not be the road for you. And because it can get you into lack mentality, it can get you into scarcity, and it'll just make you want to eat even more. And so I like to, for those type of people, I like to crowd out. Let's add in some vegetables. Let's add in some fruit. Let's add in more water. What are things that we can add in instead of taking things away from you?
I love that. And I think that's really important, especially for moms who have to have a variety of things at home for kids, adults, spouses, sig others, you know, all these things. You can't. It's easier for me because I just want to bring it home because I only have to worry about me. I'm not going to eat it, right? That wouldn't work necessarily. Everybody else's house, like, what you mean you're not going to bring no, you know? So I like that idea of how do we add other things, for, you know, into play, and that's part of the planning process, right?
Absolutely. Plan to succeed, make shopping lists, get an emotional eating coach, ding, start friends and peer support. Yeah, you absolutely need accountability. Absolutely. Like my journey could have been cut in half, honestly. And the planning part, it comes a little bit after figuring out the why behind your emotional eating or the reason why you experience it. And then the planning is also more so around those things that you're adding in, not necessarily taking away.
I like that because that's not really what we've learned. That's not really. We've always learned if you want result, then you deprive yourself of this. You take this away. It's always about the taking away, right? It's we're not. You know, it's very rare that you hear it's focused on. No, it's just pushing this forward, pushing this over here forward. And I think from a psychological standpoint, that has so much more to do with our ability to succeed because nobody wants to be in lack. We're not built to want to be in lack. So the time you say, no, this for you, you know, or whatever, then we're like, well, yes, for me, you know, like, what do you mean, no, this is for me, you know? So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. The other thing I want to kind of bring to the forefront, and ladies, if you'll speak to it, is how about the times when you just didn't care? You knew it. You knew it, and you just didn't care. Can either of you speak to one of those times?
I can't. Yeah. I just get tired. I don't know. I have an echo. Can y'all hear this?
No, you're good so far.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know. It's just like, okay, I was I'm getting working out. I'm trying to eat right. And it's like, okay, this week I just don't care about working out. I don't care about what I eat. You know, I just want to eat whatever I want to eat. And I'm thinking that's a form of emotional eating, and I don't know why. I haven't figured out why I have those weeks, you know, like strong weeks, and then I have like a week, and it's like, okay, I'm tired of this. Like, is this really all worth it? Like, why am I even like? I'm tired, you know.
That's part of the journey. That is part of the journey.
I've had it. It's been going on for about a year now, so I just learned how to embrace those times. Like I don't like, cause usually years ago I would say forget it, and it would be years and years and years and years and years before I jump back on board. But now, okay, I just might give myself a week and not feel guilty and not beat myself down about having that week that I just didn't feel like worrying about what I was gonna eat. I didn't feel like working out, you know, just like, girl, just don't beat yourself up. You're human, and you're allowed to have weeks like that. Like not weeks, but you're allowed to have some time.
Yeah.
And you feel bad about it.
But you were able to self-correct, and a lot of times, you know.
Yeah.
With Monique help, a lot. You know, I have to go back to what she told me, what I learned when I was with her. You know, just go back to my why. Why did I start this journey? Why do I want to keep pushing? And I have to go back to that very often, you know, to stay aboard, you know.
That's good. That's some good coaching right there. Janelle, what was your aha? I saw you go, yeah.
I lost it.
No, we were talking about where you just don't care, where you get to that place where you know better, but you just don't care.
Yeah. So I was going to say the moments when I don't care are usually the moments that I sabotage myself. I have hypertension, high blood pressure. And and I have my good weeks and bad weeks. And when I have the bad weeks and there's always a couple of days where I just don't care, I will eat pizza. I will eat whatever. And then I am just messed up for the next 48 hours.
Yeah.
And so that's when I have to step back. When I start to go down that rabbit hole, I have to step back and say, look, you can't do that. And my why is my daughter. It's like, I want to be here. I want to see her grow up. I want to see her get married and all these things. And if I keep doing that to myself, I'm not going to be here to see that. So.
And I love that you gracefully and eloquently laid it right up for the next point I wanted to make was, as we wrap, is that we're dealing with emotional eating, but this is really about living well, right? And sometimes it gets hard because, you know, in our society, it can become so much about how I fit in my jeans and how I look in this and how I fit. And feeling is a part of your body signaling to you. I mean, I know I don't feel as sluggish as I was, you know, but I also know I still got 20 more to go. I lost 20, but I still got 20 to go. You know what I mean? So I can't just go, okay, yay, you, and then just kind of lay out, you know, because I know that if I'm not careful, kind of like you were saying, Kristen, you got to keep doing what you know to do, right? Because it is about health and well-being and longevity. And listen, people are checking out of here. And I'm not even talking about COVID. I'm talking about, I'm 54, people in my age bracket are having heart attacks, are stroking out. And I'm like, it can't be me. Like that can't be me. I can't go out. Jennifer's saying yes to living well. And so that's what I hope that all of you watching get. It's important to talk about, and it's not just a female issue. Men do it too. Grief can be a huge reason, a trigger for emotional eating. Being under undue stress like this pandemic, where there's so much uncertainty out there that, you know, all you know to do is try to we've never been in a space like this before. Then you add to this huge race debate that's going on around the world. Now you've added extra layers to that. And we really have to step back and go, okay, I have to deal with it. I need to deal with it. I will deal with it. But how I deal with it, right? Monique has got to be the forefront of my focus. What is it you want to share in parting? I know I've put in the header resource of how to connect with you on social media, as well as the questionnaire that you had. I just want to share that with people and give people a little look-see at that. That was a questionnaire. And what is the goal of the questionnaire?
To bring awareness.
Okay. All right, so there we go. And so you just take the questionnaire and it'll give you some journal prompts. Just check the statements that you agree with. And then this will give her some assessment, like what is your relationship? It'll make you, like she said, awareness. Have you even thought about what your relationship is with food? Decoding your why. We talked about that. Why are you reaching for that? When are you experiencing it? How do you experience it? When somebody goes through this and after they go through this, what do they walk away at least kind of with a sense of?
So you will begin to see patterns when you're reaching for food for not only health, hunger, and happiness. You will, and beyond the worksheet, as you move through life, as you work with food or be with food, you will remember what you wrote in this worksheet.
Yeah.
And then it will bring you back to presence and you get curious. So the worksheet will just bring more awareness, because that's the first step. You have to be aware. Like if you're deep in emotional eating, you're very disconnected from your body. You're very disconnected from the now. You're either living in the future, living in the past. And so this will bring you back.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That mindfulness, that presence, all of those things so important. And thank you, ladies, for all that you shared and for your gift of time and testimony. Again, for those of you who want to take a screenshot, just take a screenshot, because this can help you start. But then if you, like we said, if you need help, find folks like Monique that can help you. You see her every day on here. If you're the Empowerment Tribe, she's usually on with us every day. So reach out to her if you feel like you need extra help. And let me tell you, it's okay to need extra help. It's absolutely okay. It's not weakness. It's not, yes, you might feel vulnerable only because this is new to you, but she's definitely one that comes from a space of no judgment, a space of understanding, of love, of care and support. Her clients are nodding their heads. So, I mean, I happen to know her well in that area as well, as a coach and as somebody who just is a good person. And so you can trust with her that she's going to help you find the right modality to help you, which may not be the same as Janelle's, which may not be the same as Kristen's, but it will be the one that gets you the results. And that's what's important. Ladies, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for being with us. And I look forward to maybe touching base further into the future where we can all come back again and keep telling each other how we made it over. how we keep getting the victory. Leola says, thank you, ladies, for the information. Very informative. Helped me pay better attention to my eating habits. Yes. So appreciate you all. Thank you. If you all have to jump off, that's cool. I'm gonna put you all in the green room for just a second. Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Kristen. Thank you so much, Janelle. Thank you so much, Ms. Monique. Awesome job.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Tribe, I hope you got it. It's really about living healthy, living well, and doing the little things to just bring awareness. You might go, I don't have time for journaling. But listen, if you would just decide in your mind, I'm going to take at least just 5 minutes at night at the end of the day. Let me go back and think about some things. Make a marker at the moment you're eating. Check in with yourself. Why am I eating? Is this my time to eat? Is it Go through jump, journal, understand why you're eating, when you're eating, and what you're eating. Make a plan to address those things, those whys, in a healthier way. And then plan it out. Don't buy the stuff you don't need to buy. Try to make sure that you plan in a way that you have what you do need to have. And I'm telling you, that's at least a place to jump you off. And then you can always go to Monique for more. That's the topic for today. We covered it, and I'd love to hear your comments and your feedback. And for those of you who go hard in the replays, when we go back through that, I'm sure Monique was going to go back through the comments for the replay viewers and answer any questions that you have as well. So go ahead and ask questions, nod, high five, do all the stuff that you all do when you all are on live, and we'll make sure that we get back to you with that. Tomorrow, you want to make sure that you join us, because we're going to finish up what we started on, when was that? On yesterday, right? The Reverend Dr. Patrick Claiborne was with us, and we started talking about this yin and yang of self-care and self-advocacy. And you heard Monique talk about what a big, important part self-love and self-worth is in this whole game of winning when it comes to being able to not only learn about emotional eating, but choose and replace what you are doing with healthier behavior. Self-love and self-worth is better. Is going to help lead you out of that. I'm stuttering because I'm trying to remember that we have a exercise. The thing kicked me out of the broadcast. Okay, we have an exercise that we're going to go back through. That's what I was trying to say tomorrow. Technology is trying to not let me be great, but it will. I'm going to be great. I'm going to be great today. We have an exercise that we're going to go over with Reverend Dr. Patrick Claiborne's coming back to talk to us about it. If you did not get it, go back and look at the devotional broadcast from yesterday. In the header is a link for downloadables, questions that we were asking. We're going to go back through that and go back through some of the topics and do a deeper dive into some of those things about self-worth, self-love, self-advocacy. So I hope you will join us there. I know, right? I know. Thank you so much, Monique. You're welcome, Jennifer. Appreciate you. And thank you all. Sharon, thank you for popping on. If you didn't get to see it, go back and catch it from the beginning. It was a great day, great inspiration, great information, help you make better decisions for better living. I'm Jeanette, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Until then, make some good decisions, y'all. Love y'all to life. Mwah. Bye-bye.